Hi, Mike Mays here. Today's project in Math Hacks for Scratch is to do a little bit of math background so that I can tell Scratch to do what it knows how to do pretty well. That is to draw things. Regular kind of so-called turtle graphics where you just point it and tell it how far to go and it'll just draw to your heart's content. Doing that, what I want to draw today is a star, a regular star-shaped figure. So let me set up the stage. The Scratch part's going to be kind of short. I'll do a little bit of math ahead of time to figure out what parameters I need Scratch to know. So let me get out of the browser with my plug for the book coming up and go to what I'm aiming for. So I'm going to try to draw just a regular 5-pointed star. And the thing about the star is it sits inside a pentagon. So the geometry of the pentagon is going to determine what the angles should be. What I'm thinking about is setting it up so that, first of all, the size of each one of these angles, and I can get that if I split the pentagon up into pieces. Think about just starting to draw that star, and the first two lines that I draw in shift the pentagon into 3 triangles. Now, I know that every triangle has the sum of its angles adding up to 180 degrees. So these 3 angles at the top here will give me one of the angles of the pentagon. These 2 angles here will give me one of the angles of the pentagon. So overall, the total for all the angles of the pentagon is the same as the areas of the 3 triangles. So each triangle contributes 180 degrees to the sum. And that means overall the pentagon has 540 degrees for the total of its angle sums. Now this is a regular pentagon, so all the angles are the same, and that means each angle has 1/5 of that total. So 108 degrees, that's the magic number for what each one of these angles in the pentagon is, 108 degrees. Now, what I'm going to want to do to tell Scratch how to draw it is to make an angle and to figure out how to bend so that when it draws and then changes direction and draws again, it'll start drawing in the strokes of my star. So let's figure out what the other angles are that are involved. Maybe the easiest way is to look at that central triangle. So it has an overall total of 180 degrees. It's an isosceles triangle, so both of these angles are the same. Call that X. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll call it X. And if X plus this angle is 180 degrees, the top one is 180 minus 2X. The other thing I know for this X is that in the bottom angle, overall, that's an angle of the pentagon, 108 degrees. So if this much of it is X degrees, this part must be 108 minus X. And these 2 outer triangles are also isosceles, so this angle matches this angle, and they come out to be 108 minus X for both of those. Now look at the top angle. We've got 108 minus X for this piece of it. We've got 180 minus 2X for this piece of it, and we've got 108 minus X for this piece of it. And overall, that is the angle of the pentagon at the top. That's 108 degrees. So there's an equation I can solve. I can collect all my like terms, all the numbers go together to be 280. I can combine, look at all the X's that go together. There's 4 X's, and setting it up as an equation to solve for X, 288 is 4X, and that gives me that X is 72. So this angle is 72, and this angle then, or this angle, is 36, and then 180 minus 2X is 36 as well. Turns out these 3 angles are the same. That's a little bonus. I didn't know that was going to happen. So this is 36 degrees for what goes there. And now, how do I use that information to help Scratch know how to draw something? Well, let's look at just the relevant part of it. Up and down with 36 degrees, What Scratch expects for a direction is to change the angle. So if I'm going along this way and I want to bend it back so that 36 degrees is what this angle is, from this way I have to bend it back the supplementary part of that. So 144 degrees, 36 plus 144 is 180. That's a straight line. So going out this way and turning back 144 degrees gets me 36 degrees for the new direction that I want. And the other thing that Scratch does as a little quirk is that when it's measuring what angle to set, it measures it from the vertical. So that I know this angle is 72 degrees, I'm going to tell Scratch to go down the complement of that, 18 degrees, for that vertical. Okay, so let me close my slideshow now and do the Scratch part of it. So first of all, this sprite, I don't particularly want the sprite there. I'm going to switch it to a ball. Let me get rid of my image here for a second so that you can see the ball come up. So I'll go here and choose, I'll get rid of this sprite. And pick another one. I'll pick, as I've done this once before, I'll pick the ball, and I don't want it to be very big. I just want it to be sort of an indication of where I am. So I'll set that as 10. Now it's a little ball, and I could drag it around. I could have it go different places for where I want to start drawing my star. Okay, so let's get going. It's going to use some pin commands. Remember that if you don't have the pin thing showing here, you can open it up in that bottom thing to give you an extended menu. So I've got all my pin commands that are here. So let's get started, and I'll do it. I'll set it up so it's going to come from starting to click a star. First thing I'll do is I will erase everything so that if I've got a bunch of stuff cluttering the screen up, it'll be gone, so I don't have to have that there. Now I want to, under this motion command, I want to point in a direction. And as I say, this is measured from as you can see, it's measured from the vertical. I want to point in the direction up like here. I want to go up that way. The right value I found out should be 18. Point in direction 18. That was the complement to the 72-degree angle that we calculated. Point in direction 18. I'll put my pen down and start drawing. And I'm going to start drawing by moving in a certain direction. I'm going to draw a 5-pointed star, so I know I can manage this to repeat it 5 times. That'll be enough to draw my 5-pointed star. And I'll just move some reasonable number of steps. This is steps. It's like pixels for the screen. If you remember that the overall screen was 480 wide and 360 tall, so let's say 200 steps is a reasonable number of steps to go. And after I've gone that far, now I want to turn. And I'll turn, as I've calculated, 144 degrees to bend that straight line back down to get the next stroke of the star. And I guess I could be neat about it, and when I'm done drawing my star, I'll put the pen up just so I don't scribble all over the screen otherwise. And now let's see if that works. Here's my little starting point, my little ball, and we're going to let it trace out a star when I hit the flag. And there's a pretty star. It goes so fast you really can't see it, but if you wanted to slow it down somehow, I guess you could, just to make that work. You could draw. Now, if once you figure out how to do something in Scratch, you can always make it a little bit fancier, you could make a little function block, a custom function block to change what the size is that you want to do. If you want to go 100 steps instead of 200 steps, then it makes a smaller star, little star there. Something to watch out for is that Scratch expects to be drawing inside this stage area. So if you move it so that you are drawing outside the stage area, then something funny happens. It completely screws up because it goes to the edge of the stage and then it starts there for the next one. So the strokes just don't line up. They don't do what they're supposed to do at all. So you could think about ways to make this fancier. You might be able to do some kind of a check to make sure that the values that you end up with having for the star are on the stage so that you get a perfect 5-pointed star. So this is a little bit of Scratch and a little bit of math to figure out what to tell Scratch to do, but that's a little geometry lesson for today. Talk to you again another time. Bye-bye.